The diamond ring hit the marble floor before Ronke could catch it. "Pick it up!" Niyi Balogun ordered, her voice slicing through the crowded hall. Then remove yourself from this family. We invited a future wife into our home, not a Mushin thief who smells money and forgets her level." 43 guests went silent. Kemi raised a bank statement above her head. 3,870,000 naira disappeared from our foundation, and the money entered an account connected to her. "That document is false," Ronke said. Her fingers trembled, but her voice did not. "Call the bank. Check the transaction reference." Chief Bode pushed a 2-page confession across the glass table. "You have 2 choices. Sign this paper and leave Lagos quietly, or leave this house in handcuffs." Ronke turned to the man who had promised to marry her. "Niyi, look at me. Do you believe I stole that money?" His lips parted. Nothing came out. That silence broke something no insult could touch. "Before we continue, do not leave this story halfway, because the person who walked through that door would expose more than a forged transaction. Comment your city or country and tell us your local time. And subscribe now, because tonight, arrogance is about to meet evidence." 2 security men reached for Ronke. One caught the sleeve of her dress. She stepped back. The thin heel beneath her right shoe snapped, and her ankle twisted. Rather than fall before them, she kicked off both shoes and planted her bare feet on the cold marble. Then tires screamed outside. 3 black SUVs stopped beneath the chandelier-lit entrance. 4 bodyguards stepped out first. Behind them came Alhaji Musa Bello, the man whose 8.7 billion naira investment was supposed to save the Balogun empire. He entered, saw Ronke standing barefoot beside her fallen ring, and stopped. Then he faced Chief Bode. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Is the woman who protected my investors' aloe money being treated like a criminal?" The silence that followed did not begin that night. It had begun 10 months earlier, on a wet Wednesday morning in Surulere, when Ronke Coker stood beneath a leaking canopy and refused to approve a lie. Rainwater ran down the edge of the temporary project office in steady ropes. Outside, laborers moved bags of cement away from the flood side of the site, while a yellow excavator sat idle in the mud. The project was supposed to provide 86 low-cost flats for families displaced by repeated flooding. On paper, the foundations were already 38% complete. On the ground, they were not even close. Ronke sat behind a metal desk with 3 invoices spread before her. Her blue blouse had darkened at the shoulders from the rain, and the sole of her left shoe was beginning to separate from the leather. She pressed it against the floor whenever anyone entered, hoping nobody would notice. The contractor noticed something else. "My sister, you are still checking this thing?" he asked, forcing a smile. "It is only sand and granite. You accountants can squeeze face over ordinary dust." Ronke lifted the first invoice. "This one says you delivered 11 truckloads of granite on Monday." "Yes. The gate register shows 6. The security man did not write everything." She lifted the second invoice. "This says you delivered another 11 on Tuesday." "Yes, Ma. The site was closed on Tuesday because of the flood warning." The contractor's smile weakened. He leaned closer and lowered his voice. "Let us not make simple work difficult. Approve the invoice. I will remember you." Ronke looked at the brown envelope he pushed beneath the edge of her ledger. It was thick enough to change her month. Her mother Aloe's cooking stove had stopped working 2 days earlier. Their landlord had increased the rent by 42,000 naira. Ronke had also promised to pay the final installment for the professional accounting course she was taking at weekends. She did not touch the envelope. "Take it," she said. You have not even checked what is inside." I do not need to count poison before refusing to drink it. The contractor straightened. Madam, be careful. This project belongs to people who can make one phone call and remove you. Ronke turned the third invoice towards him. You charged for 23 truckloads. I can verify 6. Bring the delivery notes for the remaining 17, with weighbridge records and the driver's allo details. Until then, I will not certify payment. A man standing beneath the doorway had heard everything. He wore a white hard hat, a rain-spotted shirt and work boots that had collected half the site aloe's mud. Nothing about him announced wealth. He had arrived without a convoy, carried his own rolled drawings, and spent the morning speaking with engineers instead of posing for photographs. His name was Niyi Balogun. He was 33, the operations director of Balogun Integrated Homes, and the only son of the family whose company had been hired to manage the project. The contractor turned and saw him. Oga Niyi, good morning. I was just explaining to this young woman that the delivery records. Bring the documents she requested. Ah, Niyi said. The contractor opened his mouth. Niyi did not raise his voice. He did not need to. 6 verified truckloads are not 23. If the remaining 17 entered this site, there will be evidence. If there is no evidence, remove them from the invoice. The contractor took the envelope from the desk so quickly that one corner tore. He left without greeting anyone. Ronke returned to her ledger. You knew who I was? Niyi asked. I saw your name on the site chart. And you were not afraid he might be speaking for me? If he was speaking for you, then I would need to document that also. Niyi stared at her for 1 second, then laughed. It was not the polished laugh he used at business dinners. It came out suddenly, warm and surprised. What is your name? Ronke Coker. Ronke Coker, you just saved this project 1,946,000 naira. No, sir. The delivery records saved it. I only read them. That answer stayed with him. Over the next 6 weeks, Niyi found reasons to visit the Surulere site more often than his schedule required. Sometimes he came with questions about procurement. Sometimes he brought revised work plans. Once, he arrived with 2 cups of coffee and claimed the vendor had mistakenly given him an extra one. Ronke accepted the coffee, but not the story. There is no sugar, she said after tasting it. You said last week that you do not take sugar. So you remembered my coffee order. But you want me to believe this cup is an accident. Niyi rubbed the back of his neck. I did not say it was a convincing accident. She tried not to smile. Their first real conversation happened at 6. 17 one evening after rain trapped them inside the project office. The laborers had gone. The generator had stopped. Water drummed against the zinc canopy, and the only light came from Ronke Alo's phone, placed face down beneath a transparent water bottle. Niyi looked over the rows of figures in her notebook. You write everything by hand before entering it into the system. I use the system. But I keep a working trail. Why? Because systems can fail. People can also decide they never saw what they saw. He tilted his head. That sounds like experience. Ronke closed the notebook. When I was 24, I worked for a small food distributor. My supervisor told me to approve payment for goods that never entered the warehouse. I refused. 2 weeks later, stock went missing, and they said I had altered the record. What happened? The original register disappeared. Niyi Balogun's expression changed. Were you charged? No. One warehouse assistant had taken pictures of the pages before they removed them. The truth came out, but not before neighbors started asking my mother why she raised a thief. I am sorry. Do not be sorry. Learn the lesson. What lesson? A good person without evidence can be buried by a bad person with paper. The rain continued. Niyi looked at her differently after that. Ronke did not fit the kind of woman his mother had spent years placing around him. She did not laugh because he had spoken. She did not pretend to be helpless so he could feel important. She corrected him twice during their first month, and once walked away while he was still explaining why a late payment was unavoidable. Yet she also had a softness that did not advertise itself. When an elderly laborer, Alo's wage was delayed because one digit in his account number had been entered wrongly, Ronke stayed until 8:42 that night to trace the rejected payment. When a cleaner lost her transport money, Ronke gave her the last 2,000 naira in her purse, then walked more than a kilometer to find a cheaper bus. When Niyi suggested telling the cleaner who had helped her, Ronke frowned. Why? So she knows whom to thank. She already said, "Thank you. Must everybody publish kindness before it becomes real?" Niyi had no answer. He began visiting Ronke Coker Alo's food shop in Mushin on Saturdays. The shop was narrow, with 6 plastic chairs, 2 long benches, and a hand-painted sign that had lost the final letter in kitchen. Joy cooked jollof rice, beans, stew, and pepper soup on heavy gas burners behind a steel counter. She knew every regular customer by appetite, debt, and mood. The first time Niyi entered, he wore a wristwatch worth more than the shop Alo's yearly rent. Joy looked at the watch, then at his face. "What do you want to eat?" "Anything Ronke recommends," Joy called towards the kitchen. "Your rich visitor has no mind of his own." Ronke appeared carrying a tray. "He is not my visitor, mummy." Niyi pulled out a chair. "Ah, then I will become a customer." Joy served him rice, plantain, and goat meat. He ate until sweat formed along his hairline, because the pepper was stronger than he expected, and he was too proud to stop. Joy watched him struggle. "You people who eat food without pepper are the ones controlling this country." Niyi coughed into his napkin. Ronke laughed so hard that she had to hold the counter. That afternoon, Niyi helped Joy move a faulty gas cylinder outside. His white shirt collected soot. He did not complain. Before leaving, he paid for his meal and refused to let Joy return the extra 500 naira. Joy returned it anyway. "This is not a donation center," she said. "Pay the price written on the board." On the drive home, Niyi told Ronke he liked her mother. "She has not decided whether she likes you. What must I do?" "Stop trying to win her." "That sounds difficult." "It is meant to be." Their relationship grew through ordinary things, not grand surprises. They spent evenings arguing over building standards, weekends visiting small markets, and long hours sitting in traffic where Lagos forced everybody, rich or poor, to wait beneath the same hot sky. Niyi told her about his childhood inside the Balogun mansion in Ikoyi. His father, Chief Balogun, had built the company from one rented office and 3 laborers. By the time Niyi was 10, the family owned houses in Lagos and Abuja. By the time he was 20, his surname could open doors before he reached them. But the same surname closed other doors. Chief Bo decided what Niyi studied, where he worked, and which friends were suitable. Tola Balogun inspected every woman her son brought home, as though checking imported furniture for defects. Kemi, Niyi Alo's older sister, had learned to survive by becoming more like their parents than they were. Ronke listened. "You are 33, she said. "Why are you describing your life as though somebody is still holding your school fees?" Niyi looked out through the restaurant window. "Family control is not always loud." "No. Sometimes it pays your salary." He turned back to her. "You make everything sound simple. It is not simple, it is only clear." That distinction unsettled him. 3 months after they met, Niyi invited Ronke to inspect another project in Yaba. A subcontractor had replaced specified steel reinforcement with cheaper material. Ronke noticed that the delivery receipts showed 12mm rods, while the stacks on site included a large quantity of 10mm rods, painted at the tips to match the approved coding. Niyi stopped the work immediately. The subcontractor protested that removing the rods would delay the project by 9 days and cost more than 22 million naira. Ronke stood beside the exposed columns. And if the structure fails after people move in? The man shrugged. It will not fail. You do not know that. We have been doing this work for years. That is not an engineering calculation. Niyi ordered the affected section dismantled. Later, as they walked towards the car park, he took Ronke's hand. I think I am in love with you. She stopped walking. You think? I know. Those are different statements. Fine. I know I am in love with you. Rainwater from the previous night had gathered in shallow holes across the ground. Somewhere behind them, workers hammered steel. Ronke studied his face, searching for playfulness, but there was none. I love you too, she said. But love is not the same as readiness. What are you afraid of? Not poverty, not your family, Alo's money. I am afraid you have spent your whole life obeying them and calling it peace. I can stand up to them. You have not had to stand up to them for me yet. He squeezed her hand. I will. Promises are light when they have not been tested. 6 months later, on a Sunday evening at 5:31, Niyi knelt in the back room of Joy Alo's food shop with a ring inside a small velvet box. There were no hired photographers. No violinist waited outside. Joy was counting sachets of seasoning beside the freezer and pretending not to watch. Ronke Coker, Niyi said. You have challenged me, embarrassed me, corrected my grammar, and saved my company. Money I did not know it was losing. Ronke covered her mouth. He continued. You have also shown me what honesty looks like when nobody is clapping. I do not want a wife who will worship my surname. I want the woman who will tell me when that surname is becoming a lie. Will you marry me? Ronke looked at Joy. Her mother-el's face remained serious, but her eyes had softened. Ronke turned back to Niyi. Yes. Joy dropped the seasoning packet she was holding. Niyi slipped the ring onto Ronke's finger. It was elegant rather than enormous, a clear stone set on a slim gold band. Ronke held it towards the light, then looked at him. Have you told your parents? The joy left his face too quickly. I will tell them tonight. You have not told them? I wanted to speak to you first. Niyi. They know about you. That is not what I asked. He stood. My mother is difficult. My father sees marriage as business, but I will handle them. Ronke closed the ring box. Do not handle me and handle them. Tell the truth to everybody. I will. That night, at 9:06, Niyi entered his father Alo's study and announced the engagement. Chief Bode did not shout. He removed his glasses, folded them carefully, and placed them on the desk. What is her family name? Coker. Which Coker? Her mother runs a food business in Mushin. Her father died when she was 19. Chief Bode Alo's gaze became still. What land does the family own? That is not relevant. What company? What political relationship? Which bank? Which board? Which church network? What exactly enters this family with her? Niyi felt anger rise. She enters. Tola, who had been seated near the window, gave a short laugh. A woman is not a handbag, Niyi. She enters with liabilities, habits, relatives, and hunger. She is an accountant. For whom? Tola asked. One roadside association. She works in project finance and internal control. Kemi leaned against the bookcase, turning a gold bracelet around her wrist. So this is the woman from the Surule project, she said. The one who likes asking questions. Niyi looked at her. You know about her? I know she delayed a contractor Alo's invoice and made noise about missing granite. She prevented fraud. Kemi smiled without warmth. Poor people enjoy using the word fraud. It makes them feel close to money. Niyi stepped forward. Do not speak about her like that. Chief Bode raised one hand. You will end this engagement. No. The single word sat in the room. Tola blinked. Kemi stopped turning her bracelet. Chief Bode leaned back in his chair as though hearing a language he had not expected from his son. What did you say? I said no. Chief Bode Alo's voice remained calm. Balogun Integrated Homes is negotiating the largest investment in its history. Meridian Infrastructure Consortium is conducting due diligence. At this exact time, you want to bring an unknown woman into this family. She is not unknown to me. You are not the only person carrying this name. Niyi looked from his father to his mother, then to Kemi. I love her. I have asked her to marry me. I am not withdrawing. Chief Bode picked up his glasses. You believe this is courage, because nobody has sent you the bill yet. Niyi left the study without replying. Behind him, Tola spoke in a low voice. He is carrying that girl on his head already, Kemi answered. Then we will show him what she is carrying in her hand. The plan to destroy Ronke did not begin at the engagement party. It began that night. Tola did not meet Ronke immediately. For 11 days, she sent messages through Niyi, changing the proposed date 3 times. On the 4th arrangement, she selected a Thursday afternoon at 2 line, when Ronke was expected to be at work. Ronke requested 2 hours away from the office, changed inside the women Alo's restroom, and traveled from Surulere to Ikoyi in a bus that spent 37 minutes trapped near the bridge. She arrived at 1:56. The Balogun mansion stood behind a high cream wall with black steel gates. Security cameras followed the driveway. The compound had 3 trimmed lawns, a fountain shaped like an open shell, and enough parking space for a small church. Ronke held the gift she had brought for Tola Baga handwoven table runner. Joy had purchased from a women Alo's cooperative and reminded herself that wealth was only a condition, not a species. A housekeeper led her into a sitting room large enough to contain Joy Alo's entire food shop 4 times. Tola entered at 2:19. She wore a pale green kaftan and no expression of welcome. You came alone? Yes, ma. Niyi did not send a driver. I know how to reach Ikoyi. Tola sat opposite her. Tea? Yes, thank you. The housekeeper moved towards the tray. Tola stopped her. Use the everyday cup. Heard it, so did the housekeeper. Nobody commented. The everyday cup was plain white and slightly chipped near the handle. Tola Alo's own cup had gold lines around the rim. Ronke accepted hers with both hands and placed it carefully on the saucer. I brought this for you, ma. Tola opened the package, touched the woven fabric with 2 fingers, and returned it to the table. Very local. It was made by a cooperative in Abeokuta, I see. Tola took a sip of tea. Your father left no property? The question arrived without transition. He left my mother and me some savings. Medical bills had consumed most of what he owned. No house? No ma? No land? No. What did he do? He repaired industrial refrigerators. Tola Al's brows rose. A technician, yes. And your mother sells food. She runs a registered food business. In Mushin. Yes. Tola placed the cup down. Have you traveled outside Nigeria? No private university? Federal Polytechnic. Any relative in government? No banking? No oil? No. Traditional title? The questions continued for 14 minutes. Tola asked about Joy Ilo's income, Ronke Ilo's salary, her church, her former relationships, and whether any illness ran in the family. She asked them in the tone of a person reading labels on damaged goods. Ronke answered until Tola leaned back. You are calm. I am listening. Most girls would be nervous. Most girls are not applying for a loan. Tola Alo's eyes sharpened. This is marriage into a family that has responsibilities. Then perhaps we should discuss those responsibilities rather than my mother Alo's rent. Tola smiled. It was the first sign that the meeting had become honest. My son is generous. Women sometimes confuse generosity with destiny. I did not pursue Niyi because of his money. Of course you will say so. I would say the same if he had none. That is a beautiful sentence from somebody who has never had access to what he has. Ronke rested her hands on her lap. Ma, I understand why you want to know me. But poverty is not a criminal record. My mother Alo's work is not dirt. My father Alo's trade was not shameful. If you want to ask whether I love your son, ask me. If you want to ask whether I am prepared for marriage, ask me. But I will not sit here and help you turn honest work into disgrace. The housekeeper froze near the curtain. Tola Alo's smile disappeared. You have a sharp mouth. I have clear boundaries. Poor people are becoming very bold these days. Respect does not have an income requirement. Tola stood. The meeting is over. Ronke stood as well. She lifted the chipped cup and placed it on the tray rather than leaving it for the housekeeper. Thank you for the tea. At the door, Tola called after her. You will not marry my son. Ronke turned. That decision belongs to two adults. You can influence him. You cannot marry him for yourself. She left before Tola could answer. In the car park outside the gate, her hands began to shake. Courage did not remove pain. It only prevented pain from deciding the next action. Niyi called 10 minutes later. What happened? Ask your mother. She said you insulted her. I told her my parents' Alo work was not shameful. You know how she is. Ronke stopped beside a roadside tree. That sentence is how families protect bad behavior. I am not protecting her. Then do not ask me to absorb it. Niyi exhaled. I will speak to her. Speak clearly. I said I will. Ronke closed her eyes. Do not make me the reason you finally become an adult, Niyi. Become one because it is overdue. For 2 weeks, Tola refused to mention the engagement. Chief Bode behaved as if it did not exist. Kemi took a different approach. She invited Ronke to lunch at the Balogun Skills Foundation office in Victoria Island. The foundation occupied the 4th floor of a glass building, decorated with photographs of smiling trainees holding certificates. A large sign declared that the organization had empowered more than 4,000 young adults in 7 years. The reception desk displayed plaques from charities, business groups, and 2 state agencies. Kemi greeted Ronke with an embrace that did not touch. My sister, welcome. Let us start again. Mummy can be old-fashioned. She was not unclear. Kemi laughed. You are direct. I like that. The lunch arrived in covered dishes. Ronke noticed that the receptionist and cleaner ate from plastic packs near the back corridor, while Kemi Alo's dining table held imported water and silver cutlery. She said nothing. Kemi asked about Ronke Alo's work. Ronke explained that she handled expenditure review, donor reporting, and internal control for a housing organization. She described the simplest version, but Kemi kept testing her knowledge with technical questions. What would you do if a supplier invoice had no purchase order? Hold payment until the approving officer explains the exception. And if the officer is the director? The control does not become less necessary because the person is important. Kemi Alo's fork paused. You enjoy rules. I enjoy knowing where money went. After lunch, Kemi walked her through the office. One room contained sewing machines. Another held computers, though 6 of the 12 screens were covered with dust. The training hall had 50 plastic chairs and a banner for a program that had supposedly ended the previous week. 37 women completed catering and textile training here, Kemi said. Congratulations. We are preparing the donor report. Since you like figures, perhaps you can look at it. Nothing serious. Just help me see whether the presentation is strong. Ronke hesitated. I do not work for the foundation. You are joining the family. That has not been agreed by the family. Kemi laughed again. Let us not carry Mummy Alo's drama on our heads. It is only a small favor. She gave Ronke a blue folder and access to a shared drive. The first page appeared normal. The total program budget was 46,212,000 naira. It included equipment, facilitators, food, transport support and starter kits for 37 participants. Ronke began with the attendance sheets. 12 names appeared consistently. 9 appeared only once. 16 signatures looked as though they had been written by the same hand. She checked the transport payment list. 37 transfers were recorded, but 25 account numbers shared repeating sequences. 3 accounts appeared under different names. Ronke opened the supplier invoices. Bright Path Catering had billed the foundation 4,190,000 naira for meals. Future Hands Textiles had billed 6,840,000 for materials. Hope Crest Logistics had billed 2,375,000 for transport. All 3 invoices contained the same spelling error in the phrase, services rendered. All 3 listed the same mobile number with 1 digit changed. 2 companies used the same bank account. Ronke looked through the glass wall. Kemi was speaking on the phone, smiling. Ronke returned to the records. An approval signature belonging to Sola George, the company Alo's chief financial officer, appeared on a payment dated February 17. Ronke remembered Niyi mentioning that Sola had undergone emergency surgery in February and remained in hospital for 6 days. She checked the file properties. The document had been created on February 20. The approval date was 3 days earlier. Ronke did not download anything. She made handwritten notes, then sent Kemi a private email at 4:38 that afternoon. The message was careful. She listed 7 questions. She did not accuse. She asked for original attendance records, supplier registration documents, delivery evidence, bank confirmation, and clarification of Sola Alo's approval date. She ended by stating that the donor report should not be submitted until the discrepancies were resolved. Kemi replied 9 minutes later. Thank you. I will review. At 5:11, Ronke Alo's access to the shared drive disappeared. At 5:26, Niyi called. What did you send to Kemi? Questions about the records she asked me to review. She says you accused her of stealing. I did not use that word. She's upset. Did you read the email? No. Then read it before calling me. Ronke, she was trying to include you. She gave me records with false signatures and duplicate suppliers. The line became quiet. What do you mean by false signatures? I mean an approval dated before the file was created, signed by a man who was in hospital. Are you sure? I am sure enough to ask for originals. Niyi lowered his voice. Do not discuss this with anybody yet. I sent it only to Kemi. Good. Let me handle it. Ronke Alo's stomach tightened. What does handle it, Alo, mean? I will speak to her. And if the records are false, let me find out first. That is what I was doing. He sighed. Ronke, this foundation is important to my family. Then accurate records should be important too. You are making it sound as though I disagree. You keep asking me to wait while somebody else controls the evidence. I am asking for discretion. Discretion is not deletion. The next morning, Kemi Alo's email arrived. The report was no longer needed. She claimed an external consultant had already completed the review, and that Ronke had misunderstood draft documents. No original records were provided. At 11:07, Ronke received a call from Chief Bod Alo's assistant asking her to come to his office. Balogun Integrated Homes occupied 3 floors of a tower in Marina. The reception area displayed scale models of estates with artificial trees, swimming pools, and tiny cars. A wall of framed newspaper covers showed Chief Bode shaking hands with governors, ministers, and bank executives. He kept Ronke waiting for 48 minutes. When she entered, he did not offer a seat. "You went through my daughter Alo's financial files. She invited me to review a donor report. You are not an employee. Yet you continued." She asked for help. Chief Bode folded his hands. "Do you know how companies work?" "Yes. No. You know how small offices work. A family business requires trust. Trust does not replace controls." His eyes hardened. "You people learn 5 accounting terms and begin to behave as if every room belongs to you." Ronke remained standing. "If the documents are correct, answering the questions will clear them. I did not summon you for a debate. Why did you summon me? To tell you your relationship with my son does not give you authority over this company." "I agree. Then stay away from our records. I will not access anything I am not authorized to access, but I will not pretend I did not see what I was asked to see." Chief Bode rose. His office seemed to become smaller around him. "You came from a food stall. Do not enter a house with polished floors and start searching beneath the furniture. Some dirt will stain the person digging." Ronke met his gaze. "If the dirt belongs to the house, it was there before the visitor." His jaw tightened. "Leave." She did. Niyi was waiting near the lift. "You should not have come alone," he said. "Your father invited me." "He is angry," I noticed. Niyi followed her into the lift. Kemi said the files were drafts. Draft invoices do not share bank accounts by accident. "Can you prove that?" "Not without access to the originals. Then let us slow down." Ronke pressed the ground floor button. "You keep saying, 'Let us, Alo,' when you mean me. That is not fair. What have you done since I told you?" I spoke to Kemi. "And," she said, "there is an explanation." "What explanation?" She did not go into detail. Ronke looked at him. "So you asked no further question." "I did not say that." The lift doors opened. Niyi held them. "My family is under pressure. We are in the middle of a major financing process." Ronke stepped into the lobby. "Pressure does not create character. It reveals it." He caught up outside. "You are not inside the company. There are things you do not understand. Then explain them." Niyi looked towards the line of cars near the entrance. For the first time, she saw fear beneath his frustration. "Our cash position is bad." "How bad?" He hesitated. "Bad enough that if Meridian does not invest, 2 projects may stop before the end of the quarter." "How many workers?" 214 directly. "More through subcontractors." Ronke Alo's anger cooled, but her concern deepened. "What happened?" "Material costs increased. A bank facility was delayed. Buyers defaulted. There were planning problems. And money from the foundation. I do not know. You need to know. I will." "When?" "Soon." "Niyi, money meant for trainees cannot become an emergency wallet because your family owes company is struggling." "I know." "Do you?" He flinched. Ronke softened her voice. "If your father is moving charity money into the company, he is not saving workers. He is shifting the loss onto people with even less power." Niyi rubbed both hands across his face. "Give me 1 week." 1 week for what? To understand the records and speak to them properly. Ronke studied him. 1 week. He nodded. The week passed. Niyi brought flowers on the 2nd day, dinner on the 4th, and silence on the 7th. When Ronke asked what he had found, he said the family accountant was reconciling the numbers. Sola George called her that same evening. His voice was low and strained. "Madam Ronke, I heard you asked about my signature." "Yes, sir." "Where did you see it?" She described the document without sending it. Sola was silent for several seconds. I did not sign any foundation payment on February 17. Were you in hospital? Yes. Could somebody have had authority to sign for you? No. Will you put that in writing? His breathing changed. I have a family. So do the people whose names may have been used. Please, do not call me again. He ended the call. Ronke stared at her phone. The next morning, Tola arrived at Joy Alo's food shop in a black SUV. She did not come inside at first. Her driver opened the rear door, and she remained seated with the air conditioning running, while customers turned to look. Joy wiped her hands on her apron and walked outside. Madam, are you buying food? I came to speak with your daughter. Then enter. The sun does not respect expensive skin. Tola Alo's face tightened. Ronke stepped out from behind the counter. What do you want, Ma? Tola handed her a cream envelope. Inside was a bank draft for 12 million naira. Ronke looked at the amount twice. What is this? Freedom. For whom? For everybody. End the engagement. Leave Lagos for a few months if necessary. My son will recover. Your mother can improve this place. Joy leaned close enough to see the figure. She did not touch the paper. Tola continued. Do not pretend you are offended. 12 million naira is more than you will save in many years. Ronke returned the draft. No, Tola did not take it. Think well. I have. Poor people reject money only when they believe more money is coming. Joy stepped between them. My daughter said no. Tola looked at the pots behind the counter. This business operates on a yearly permit, does it not? And the landlord of this building knows my husband. Joy Alo's face changed. The threat had removed its jewelry. Tola lowered her voice. Your supply contract with the Surulere project can also disappear. One complaint about hygiene is enough. People believe paper. Ronke remembered the missing warehouse register from 5 years earlier. She remembered her own words to Niyi. A good person without evidence can be buried by a bad person with paper. She lifted her phone from the counter. I have recorded the last 48 seconds. Tola Alo's eyes widened. You would record your future mother-in-law? A future mother-in-law would not threaten my mother-Al's livelihood. Tola snatched the bank draft. You think this phone will save you? No. But it will stop you from saying this conversation never happened. Tola entered the vehicle and slammed the door. The SUV pulled away. Joy watched until it disappeared. Then she turned to Ronke. Will you still marry into that family? Ronke looked down at the ring. I do not know. Joy returned to the shop. A person who feeds you can still disrespect you, she said. Never mistake dependence for love. And never mistake a man Alo's promise for his courage. Ronke followed her inside. That night, she created 3 copies of every relevant note she had made. One stayed on an encrypted drive. One went to Yemi Johnson. The final copy went into a sealed envelope beneath a stack of old course books in Joy Alo's room. She was no longer trying to win the Balogun family Alo's acceptance. She was preparing for what they might do when acceptance failed. Yemi Johnson worked 2 desks away from Ronke at the housing organization. She was 31, patient with figures and impatient with foolishness. When Ronke placed the encrypted drive on her desk the next morning, Yemi did not plug it into the office computer. Tell me first, she said. Ronke explained the foundation records, Sola Alo's denial, Chief Bode Alo's warning, and Tola Alo's visit to the food shop. She played the recording once. Yemi listened without interrupting, then removed her glasses. This is no longer family wahala. I know. No, you know with your head. I need you to know with your feet. These people may follow you, pressure your employer, or create something against you. I have not accused them publicly. They do not need you to accuse them. They only need to fear that you can. Ronke sat down. What would you do? Separate what you know from what you suspect. Yemi took a blank sheet of paper and drew 2 columns. In the first, they listed facts Ronke could support. Duplicate bank details, inconsistent attendance records, a file creation date later than the approval date, Solar Aloe's verbal denial, and the recorded threat from Tola. In the second, they listed conclusions not yet proven. Diversion of foundation money, forged signatures, companies controlled by Kemi, and use of the funds to cover the construction company, ALO's losses. This second column is where careless people destroy themselves, Yemi said. Do not publish it. Do not send it to bloggers. Do not confront Kemi with language you cannot yet prove. So I should do nothing. I did not say that. You need the right channel. Meridian Infrastructure Consortium had established an independent due diligence portal for employees, suppliers, and affected parties connected to Balogun integrated homes. The notice was buried on page 26 of a stakeholder information. That document Niyi had once forwarded to Ronke when asking her opinion on procurement safeguards. The portal allowed confidential submissions. It requested specific documents, dates, and explanations of how the reporter obtained the information. It warned users not to hack accounts, steal private records, or alter originals. Ronke read every line. She prepared the submission over 3 nights. She did not say, "The Balogun family stole money." She wrote that she had been authorized by Kemi to review a donor report and had observed discrepancies requiring independent verification. She described where each document had appeared, when she viewed it, and why the records concerned her. She attached her email to Kemi, the reply, the access removal notice, the list of irregularities, and the recording of Tola Aloe's threat. She did not include Solar Aloe's verbal statement. "He asked me not to contact him," she told Yemi. "Then do not turn fear into consent." Ronke submitted the report at 11:43 p.m. on a Sunday. The portal generated reference number MICDDU17431. She wrote it in her paper notebook. "Now what?" she asked. "Now you continue your life," Yemi said. "And you stop carrying the only copy of anything in your handbag." 3 days passed. Then 5. On the 6th day, an independent review officer contacted Ronke through the secure portal. The message requested a remote interview and asked whether she consented to the review team, verifying her employment history and the circumstances under which she accessed the documents. Ronke agreed. The interview took place at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. Yemi sat in the next room but did not participate. The reviewers asked difficult questions. Why had Ronke accepted access to records outside her employment? Had she downloaded any files? Was she engaged to a member of the Balogun family? Did she have a financial dispute with them? Had anyone promised her a reward? Did she understand that personal conflict could affect her interpretation? Ronke answered without decorating herself. "Yes, I am engaged to Niyi Balogun. Yes. His mother offered me money to leave him. Yes, I am angry about how I was treated. No, anger does not make the document dates change." The interview lasted 1 hour and 26 minutes. At the end, the review officer said the team might contact her again. Ronke expected relief. Instead, she felt exposed. For the next 2 weeks, she checked mirrors before leaving work and watched the vehicles behind her bus. Nothing happened. That almost made it worse. Niyi noticed the change. "You are distant," one evening as they sat in his car outside Joy Aloe's shop. "I am careful. With me, with everybody." He rested both hands on the steering wheel. "Did you report my family?" Ronke did not lie. "I submitted concerns through Meridian Aloe's independent channel." Niyi turned towards her. "You did what?" "I gave them what I could verify." "You went outside the family." "There was no safe process inside the family." "You should have told me first." I told you for 1 week. I said I was investigating. You brought me flowers. His face tightened. Do not reduce everything I did. What did you discover? Niyi looked away. That foundation money was temporarily transferred to a project account. The words landed softly. Their meaning did not. How much? I do not know the full amount. How much do you know? 31 million. Ronke stared at him. You knew. I found out 2 days ago. And you did not tell me. My father said it was a bridge. The money would be returned after the Meridian investment. Was the donor informed? No. Were the trainees informed that their transport, equipment, and starter kits had become a bridge? Do not speak as if I approved it. You hid it for 2 days. I was trying to understand the consequences. The consequences already belong to somebody. Niyi hit the steering wheel once with the heel of his hand. If Meridian pulls out, 214 people can lose their jobs. Suppliers will collapse. Families will suffer. This is not a classroom exercise. And if Meridian invests based on false accounts, we correct the records after stabilizing the company. Ronke went still. Say that again. Niyi heard himself. He lowered his voice. I am saying, there may be a way to repair this without destroying everything. You cannot repair corruption by hiding it from the people who will pay for it. My father made a desperate decision. Your sister created ghost trainees. You do not know that. Then why are you defending her before checking? I am defending the company. No. You are using workers as a shield for the people who endangered their jobs. Niyi opened his door and stepped out. He walked 3 paces, then returned. What do you want me to do? Call a press conference? Hand my father to the police? Watch the business he built for 38 years collapse? I want you to stop pretending silence is neutral. He is my father, and the people whose names were used are human beings. Niyi Balogun's shoulders dropped. Withdraw the report. Give me 30 days. I cannot withdraw an independent review just because you are uncomfortable. You can tell them the issue is being resolved. Is it? He did not answer. Ronke removed the engagement ring. Niyi Balogun's eyes widened. What are you doing? I am taking time away from this relationship. Ronke, no, I love you. That is exactly why I cannot keep helping you believe love should cover what truth exposes. She placed the ring in her handbag rather than giving it back. This is not final, he said. That depends on what you do when nobody is protecting you from the cost. She left him beside the car. For 9 days, Niyi did not call. On the 10th, he sent a message. I am sorry. Ronke read it and did not reply. The Meridian review moved quietly. The team contacted the foundation, Balogun's listed suppliers. Bright Path Catering had no functioning office at its registered address. Hope Crest Logistics had been incorporated 11 months earlier and had no vehicles registered in its name. Future Hands Textiles existed only as a business name attached to an account opened by a former administrative assistant linked to Kemi. The reviewers did not tell Ronke all this. They asked for clarifications. They requested the exact layout of the shared drive. They asked whether she could identify the font and template used in the invoices. Ronke answered what she knew and said, I do not know when she did not. That phrase protected her more than confidence would have. Kemi discovered the review on a Monday morning. A due diligence request had arrived asking for original attendance sheets, beneficiary identification, supplier ownership records, and proof that Solar had approved 3 payments. The request quoted the exact discrepancies Ronke had raised in her email. Kemi called Niyi first. Your woman reported us. She is not my woman to control. Do not start philosophy. Did she do it? Yes. Kemi swore. You told her? I told her nothing she had not already seen. You brought a snake into this family. Niyi Balogun's voice hardened. She asked you legitimate questions. You are supporting her. I am supporting an investigation. Kemi laughed. After all Daddy has done for you. This is not about what Daddy did for me. It is about whether this family survives. Then answer the reviewers. Kemi ended the call. By 2:18 that afternoon, she had already started building another story. She found the expense reimbursement form Ronke had completed after visiting the foundation. The form contained Ronke Coker's bank name and account number because the foundation had offered to refund her transport. Ronke had refused the payment, but the details remained in the system. Kemi photographed the form. She also searched archived emails for Ronke Coker's signature and found it beneath a message about the donor report. Over the next 3 days, she created a false transfer notice showing 3,870,000 naira moving from a foundation account into an account connected to Ronke. The actual destination was a dormant vendor account that Kemi could influence. She changed the display name on a screenshot and built a chain of edited messages suggesting Ronke had demanded payment to remain silent. Kemi was not a trained digital forensics expert. She copied appearances, not systems. The transaction reference contained 10 characters instead of the Bank Coker's standard sequence. The PDF used an outdated version of the Bank Coker's logo. The metadata showed the file had been created on her office laptop. One message displayed a timestamp from a different time zone because the editing software retained the laptop EO's temporary travel settings from a recent trip. She did not notice. Tola approved the plan because she wanted Ronke gone. Chief Bode approved it because he wanted the report discredited. Niyi knew nothing. At the same time, Sola George began to unravel. For 27 years, he had worked with Chief Bode. He had joined Balogun Integrated Homes when the company operated from 2 rooms above a pharmacy. He knew which early contracts saved the business, which loans nearly destroyed it, and which people had been paid to make problems disappear. At first, his compromises had looked small. Approve the payment today. The document will come tomorrow. Move the expense to another project. We will correct it next month. Sign the check. The chairman has already agreed. Over time, each exception became a bridge to the next one. When Sola refused to approve the foundation transfers, Chief Bode reminded him that the company paid for his medical treatment and employed his younger relatives. Kemi then copied his old electronic signature onto documents he had never seen. Sola told himself he was only protecting his job. Then he saw the false accusation prepared against Ronke. Kemi had accidentally sent the draft evidence pack to a finance folder he still monitored. The file remained there for 7 minutes before she removed it. 7 minutes were enough. He downloaded nothing. He took photographs of the screen with a separate phone, including the file path and creation details. That evening, Sola called Ronke. I need to speak with you. Are you safe? I do not know. They met the next morning in a quiet corner of a public cafe. Yemi sat at another table within sight, but outside hearing range. Sola looked older than he had 3 weeks earlier. They are planning to accuse you of taking money, he said. Ronke Coker's fingers tightened around her cup. What evidence? A transfer notice. Messages. They are false. Have you seen them? Yes. Can you prove it? He placed his phone on the table but kept one hand over it. I took pictures. Ronke did not reach for the phone. Have you spoken to a lawyer? No. Do that first. Sola blinked. You do not want the pictures. I want you to understand what happens if you provide them. You may lose your job. You may also be questioned about documents you signed. I know. Do you? His mouth trembled. I signed payments I should not have signed. Ronke said nothing. I told myself the company would repay the money. He continued. I told myself 200 workers depended on us. Every time, I had a reason. A reason is not the same as permission. I know that now. No. You know you are in danger now. That is different. Sola looked down. The words hurt him because they were true. Ronke leaned forward. Sir, I will not secretly record you. I will not collect documents from you without a clear process. Write a full account. Include what you did, what you refused, and what was done without your approval. Keep copies. Find independent legal advice. Then submit through Meridian Aloe's channel or to the proper authority. What if they destroy me? They may try. You are very calm. I am not calm. I am being careful. He looked towards Yemi. Does she know? She knows I am meeting a potential witness. She does not know what you said. Sola breathed out slowly. Why are you helping me after I stayed silent? I am not clearing you. I am telling you how not to make another bad decision because of fear. He nodded. Before leaving, he said, Madam Ronke, your problem is that you still believe people will stop when they see you are innocent. Ronke held his gaze. No. My problem was believing people who loved me would stop them. Sola left with his phone still in his pocket. 3 days later, Meridian received his written statement, copies of email instructions, payroll records, and the photographs showing the draft accusation against Ronke. The review became a forensic investigation. Meridian Aloe's board scheduled a final investment meeting for Friday, November 22 at 8:15 p.m. Chief Bode requested that the signing take place at the family mansion during a formal dinner. He wanted photographs, music, and respected guests. He wanted the appearance of confidence before rumors about the company could spread. Musa Bello agreed to attend. He had already decided no money would move that night. The dinner would give his legal and audit team access to the decision-makers in one place. It would also allow them to ask for immediate explanations before records changed again. Kemi learned the date and saw an opportunity. The family would remove Ronke before Musa arrived, force her to sign a confession, and present her as a dishonest outsider whose false report had been motivated by greed. If Meridian believed the whistleblower was compromised, Chief Bode hoped the investigation would lose force. Tola called Ronke on Monday evening. Her voice was soft. My daughter, this quarrel has gone too far. Ronke almost laughed at the sudden affection. What changed? A mother can reflect, and a foundation can produce original records. Tola ignored the remark. Niyi is suffering. He has refused to eat properly. Chief Bode has agreed that we should welcome you. We are holding a family dinner on Friday. Important partners will attend. We want to announce the engagement properly. Ronke looked across the room at Joy, who was sorting receipts. Why now? Because pride has already taken enough from us. The sentence sounded rehearsed. Will Kemi be there? Of course. And the foundation matter. We will resolve everything as family. Ronke did not answer immediately. Tola continued. Come by 7:30. Wear something suitable. We will put all this behind us. After the call, Joy looked up. You are not going. I think it is a trap. Then why are you thinking? Because if I refuse, they will say I ran away. Joy slapped a receipt bundle against the table. Let them say it. Yemi was equally direct. Do not go alone. Niyi will be there. Yemi stared at her. That sentence has disappointed us before. Ronke did not defend him. She informed the Meridian Review officer that the Balogun family had invited her to the investment dinner. She did not ask anyone to attend or rescue her. She simply added the invitation to the case record. The officer replied that the review team was aware of the event and advised Ronke not to surrender original evidence or sign documents without independent advice. Ronke printed the message and left it with Yemi. On Friday, she spent 3 months of savings on a dark blue dress from a local designer in Surulere. It was not expensive by Ikoyi standards, but it fitted her perfectly. Joy adjusted the hem by hand and pressed the fabric twice. At 6:48 p.m., Ronke stood before the small mirror in their room. Joy fastened a simple chain around her neck. "You do not need to prove you belong in their house," she said. "I know." "Then why are your hands cold?" "Because knowing is not the same as feeling." Joy met her eyes in the mirror. "Listen to me. If they insult your clothes, remember who paid for them. If they insult this house, remember who kept it clean. If they insult my food, remember it fed us without stealing from anybody." Ronke swallowed. "And if Niyi fails again?" Joy Alo's hands paused on her shoulders. "Then stop waiting for a third lesson." At 7:11, Niyi arrived to collect her. He wore a black suit and looked as though he had not slept properly in days. When he saw Ronke, grief and admiration crossed his face together. "You look beautiful." "Thank you. I did not know my mother invited you until yesterday." "Did you ask why?" she said. "She wants peace." "Do you believe her?" Niyi hesitated. Ronke looked at Joy. Her mother said nothing. Niyi opened the car door. "I will not let anybody humiliate you tonight." Ronke entered the vehicle. The promise sounded familiar. On the drive to Ikoyi, Niyi told her Meridian Alo's chairman would attend. He said the investment could keep projects running and protect salaries. He also admitted the family had not answered all the due diligence questions. "What happens if the investment is delayed?" Ronke asked. "We may miss payroll in December." "Does Musa Bello know?" "He knows the company needs liquidity. He does not know every detail." Ronke looked out through the window. "He probably knows more than you think." Niyi glanced at her. "What does that mean?" "It means due diligence is not a decoration." They reached the mansion at 7:34. Music floated across the compound. Valets moved between luxury vehicles. Through the tall windows, Ronke could see guests beneath crystal chandeliers and waiters carrying trays of drinks. Tola met them at the entrance. For 1 second, she looked Ronke up and down. Then she smiled and opened her arms. "My daughter, welcome home." Ronke did not move into the embrace. "Good evening, Ma." Tola Alo's arms lowered. "Still keeping distance? Still keeping memory." Niyi touched Ronke Alo's elbow. "Please." Tola smiled towards the guests. "Come. Everybody is waiting." The trap had opened its door. The first insult was not spoken. It was a chair. At the main table, place cards had been arranged for Chief Bode, Tola, Kemi, Niyi, Musa Bello, and senior guests. Ronke Alo's name was not there. A waiter led her towards a smaller table beside the service corridor, where 2 event vendors and an empty chair faced the swinging kitchen door. Niyi noticed. "Mummy, where is Ronke Alo's seat?" Tola adjusted a flower arrangement. "There was a change in the seating plan. She is my fiancée. The signing guests must sit together. Then she sits with me." Chief Bode approached before Niyi could move a chair. "Do not create drama at the entrance. The chairman will arrive soon." Niyi lowered his voice. "This was supposed to be an engagement announcement. It will be if everybody behaves." Ronke heard the condition. She walked to the smaller table and sat down. Niyi followed. "I will sit here." Tola Alo's smile cracked. "Niyi, you said there was no space." Kemi appeared in a gold dress with a glass of champagne in her hand. "Brother, please." Important people did not come to watch you prove love beside a kitchen door. Ronke looked at her. "Then they should watch you prove accounting." Kemi Alo's eyes flashed. Niyi pulled out the chair beside Ronke. Before he could sit, Chief Bode gripped his shoulder. 5 minutes in my study. I am not leaving her. 5 minutes. Ronke touched Niyi Alo's wrist. "Go." He looked uncertain. "I will come back." He followed his father upstairs. Tola turned towards Ronke. You see how you make him behave? A man who used to understand rooms now wants to sit with caterers. One of the vendors looked down at his plate. Ronke unfolded her napkin. A chair does not reduce me, Ma. It only shows who arranged the room. Tola walked away with her head high. For the next 20 minutes, guests greeted Ronke with curiosity disguised as warmth. Some had heard she was Niyi Balogun's fiancée. Others had heard she was an accountant from Mushin who had caused confusion. During Meridian Balogun's review, a woman wearing diamonds around her neck asked where Ronke Balogun's family house was located. Mushin. The woman smiled. Oh, you are very brave to say it confidently. Ronke returned the smile. It is an address, not a confession. The woman moved away. At 7:58, Kemi took the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this important evening. The Balogun family has always believed that business should create opportunity, not just profit. Ronke watched the screens behind her display photographs from the foundation. Women stood beside sewing machines. Men held toolboxes. Certificates filled the frame. Some of the faces belonged to people whose names had never appeared in the payment records. Kemi continued. Our foundation has trained thousands, supported vulnerable families and opened doors for people society might otherwise ignore. Ronke almost admired the performance. Kemi spoke about dignity while using a microphone purchased with the same authority she had used to erase beneficiaries. The guests nodded. Cameras flashed. Tola stood near the main table, smiling like a woman whose family had never threatened a food seller Balogun's permit. Niyi returned at 84. His face was tight. What did he say? Ronke whispered. Later. Does later mean you agreed with him? No, then sit. Niyi looked towards the main table. Chief Bode was watching. He sat beside Ronke. For 3 minutes, hope returned. Then Kemi changed the subject. Tonight was also meant to celebrate love, she said. My brother has chosen a woman outside the circles our family knows. We tried to welcome her. We gave her access. We treated her as one of us. Ronke Balogun's spine stiffened. Niyi stood. Stop. Kemi lifted one hand. But sometimes kindness is mistaken for weakness. The screen behind her went black. A bank statement appeared. The room became quiet. Kemi Balogun's voice trembled with carefully prepared pain. 3 days ago, we discovered that 3,870,000 naira was removed from the Balogun Skills Foundation. The money was traced to an account connected to the woman my brother planned to marry. Whispers moved through the hall. Ronke stood slowly. Where did you get that document? Kemi looked at her as though wounded by the question. You are asking where we found evidence of your theft. That is not a valid bank reference. Kemi laughed once. You have not even come closer. I can see the format from here. Chief Bode stepped forward. Ronke, sit down. No, sir. Tola moved towards the smaller table. All this time you were raising your shoulders in our house. You were counting how to enter our account. Ronke looked at Niyi. He was staring at the screen. Kemi, he said. When did you find this? Wednesday. Why did nobody tell me? Because we knew love had blocked your eyes. Kemi clicked the remote. Edited messages appeared on the screen. One showed Ronke supposedly demanding payment in exchange for silence. Another suggested she had threatened to destroy the company if the family rejected her. Ronke read them once. Oh, these are fabricated. Everything is fabricated when a thief is caught, Tola said. I never sent those messages. Kemi raised her voice. You came into our foundation, copied private documents, and created a false report against us. Then you demanded money. When we refused, you moved foundation funds into an account controlled by your associates. Name the account holder. Kemi paused. Chief Bode stepped in. The full details are with our lawyers. Then call them. This is a family matter. You placed it on a screen before 43 guests. A camera phone rose near the back. Tola pointed at Ronke Alo's dress. Look at her. She came dressed like a Governor Alo's wife with money meant for struggling people. Ronke Alo's face burned. I paid for this dress from my salary. Your salary? Tola laughed. Have you ever held 3 million naira long enough to know how it smells? You entered this house with a cracked family name and began calculating the chandeliers. Joy Alo's words returned to Ronke. If they insult your clothes, remember who paid for them. Ronke lifted her chin. My mother, Alo's business, paid school fees without stealing. My father repaired machines until his hands became rough. Do not use honest poverty as evidence for your dishonesty. A guest gasped. Tola Alo's face twisted. How dare you? How dare you put a forged document on a screen and call it proof? Chief Bode signaled to the event staff. The main doors closed. Not locked. Closed. The gesture was enough. Niyi moved between Ronke and his father. Bring the bank representative on the phone, he said. Let us verify the reference. Kemi Alo's expression changed for half a second. Then she covered it with anger. You believe her over your own sister? I believe verification. Tola grabbed Niyi Alo's arm. This is what she has done to you. Ordinary project accountant from a roadside kitchen. She entered your head and scattered your sense. Ronke turned to Niyi. Ask to see the destination account. He faced Kemi. Show me. Chief Bode Alo's voice struck the room. Enough. Everybody stopped. He walked towards the glass table near the stage and removed a 2-page document from a leather folder. We have protected this woman from police because of our son, he said. We offered a private resolution. She refused. Ronke had never seen the document. Chief Bode placed it on the table. This is an admission that she accessed Foundation records without authority, accepted an improper payment and submitted false allegations to Meridian. If she signs, returns every document and ends the engagement, we will not pursue criminal action. Ronke stepped closer. The first page admitted theft. The second page contained a confidentiality clause, a waiver of claims and a statement that every allegation against the Balogun family had been invented from anger after a failed relationship. Her pulse steadied. The trap had finally explained itself. You do not want a confession, she said. You want my evidence. Chief Bode leaned towards her. What evidence? The evidence you are pretending does not exist. Kemi raised the microphone again. You hear her? She is threatening us in our own house. Ronke ignored her. Call the bank. Call Meridian Alo's review team. Call the police if you believe this document. But I will not sign. Chief Bode Alo's eyes narrowed. You think people like Musa Bello will choose the word of a food seller, Alo's daughter, over this family? No. I think serious people will choose records that can be verified. Tola bent and picked up Ronke Alo's hand. Before Ronke could pull away, Tola dragged at the engagement ring. Remove this thing. Ronke jerked her hand free. Do not touch me. You wore my family Alo's name while stealing from us. I never wore your name. Tola gripped her finger again. The ring slipped free. It struck the marble floor. The diamond ring hit the marble floor before Ronke could catch it. Pick it up, Tola ordered, her voice slicing through the crowded hall. Then remove yourself from this family. We invited a future wife into our home, not a Mushin thief who smells money and forgets her level. 43 guests went silent. Kemi raised the bank statement above her head. 3,870,000 naira disappeared from our foundation, and the money entered an account connected to her. That document is false, Ronke said. Her fingers trembled, but her voice did not. Call the bank. Check the transaction reference. Chief Bode pushed the 2-page confession across the glass table. You have 2 choices. Sign this paper and leave Lagos quietly, or leave this house in handcuffs. Ronke turned to the man who had promised to marry her. Niyi, look at me. Do you believe I stole that money? His lips parted. Nothing came out. He looked at the bank statement, at his sister, at his father, at the guests whose investment, employment, and opinion seemed to crowd around his throat. 7 seconds passed. That silence broke something no insult could touch. Ronke nodded once. She bent, picked up the ring, and placed it in Niyi Balogun's palm. A husband who will defend me later cannot protect me in a marriage. Ronke? No. His fingers closed around the ring. Chief Bode pointed towards the entrance. Take her outside. 2 private security men approached. Niyi stepped forward, then stopped when his father spoke. If you obstruct them, you are finished in this company. Meridian will be told tonight that you no longer represent the family. 214 salaries will hang on the decision you make in the next 10 seconds. Niyi looked at Ronke. His face was full of pain. Pain was not action. Please leave tonight, he whispered. I will fix this later. Ronke Balogun's eyes became dry. There is nothing left for later. One security man caught the sleeve of her dress. Ronke stepped back. The narrow heel beneath her right shoe snapped, and her ankle turned sharply. She kicked off both shoes before the second man could touch her and stood barefoot on the cold floor. Do not drag me, she said. I am leaving. Then tires screamed outside. The sound cut through the music system and the low whisper of guests. 3 black SUVs stopped beneath the chandelier-lit entrance. 4 bodyguards stepped out first, scanning the compound with professional speed. Behind them came Alhaji Musa Bello in a dark grey kaftan, followed by an audit partner, a legal advisor, and Meridian Balogun's company secretary. The clock above the sideboard showed 8:09. They were 6 minutes early. Musa entered, saw Ronke standing barefoot beside her broken shoes, and stopped. Then he faced Chief Bode. Why? He asked quietly. Is the woman who protected my investors' Balogun money being treated like a criminal? The bank statement slipped from Kemi Balogun's hand. It did not fall all the way. She caught it against her dress. Chief Bode recovered first. Alhaji Musa, welcome. You have entered during an unfortunate family matter. Musa looked at the screen. Ronke Balogun's supposed messages remained displayed behind Kemi. I can see that. Tola rushed forward with a smile. Sir, please do not misunderstand. This woman submitted malicious claims during your review. We have just discovered she stole from our foundation. Musa Balogun's gaze moved to Ronke. Did they touch you? I am not injured. That was not my question. Ronke looked at the security men. One held my sleeve. My shoe broke when I stepped back. Musa turned to his lead bodyguard. Ensure nobody removes documents from this room. Do not lock any door. Do not touch anybody unless there is a safety issue. Yes, sir. Chief Bode stiffened. This is my home. And I am not claiming it. Musa said. You invited Meridian here to execute an investment agreement. My team has arrived for that purpose. He looked towards the glass table. Where are the final documents? Chief Bode gestured towards a leather case. We can discuss that in the study. No. Your family has accused a material witness in our due diligence investigation of theft in front of guests and displayed alleged evidence on a screen prepared for our signing. We will discuss it here. Kemi stepped down from the stage. Material witness? Musa faced her yes. She is a rejected fiancée with a grudge. The audit partner beside Musa opened a tablet. Musa did not raise his voice. Ronke Coker submitted a documented concern through an independent channel. She disclosed her relationship with your brother, your mother, Elo's financial offer, and the personal conflict. She did not hide facts that could weaken her credibility. That is one reason the review took her report seriously. Ronke heard several guests murmur. Tola stared at her. You reported the 12 million? I reported the threat attached to it. Musa Alo's expression changed. What? 12 million? The room went still again. Ronke answered. Mrs. Balogun offered me a 12 million naira bank draft to end the engagement. When I refused, she threatened my mother Alo's food business, our landlord, and a supply contract. Tola Alo's hand flew to her chest. She recorded a private conversation. You threatened a livelihood in a public business, Ronke said. Chief Bode stepped forward. Alhaji, this woman is manipulating you. Musa looked at the false bank statement. Then let the evidence rescue you. He extended his hand towards Kemi. Give me the document. Kemi held it tighter. Our lawyers, madam, you displayed it to 43 guests. It has passed the stage of privacy. She handed it to him. Musa did not study the page himself. He passed it to the audit partner. Can your team verify this now? We can check the format and contact the bank, Alice Fraud Desk, the auditor said. We will need the original electronic file. Kemi swallowed. This is a printed copy. Where is the electronic original? In the office. Which office? The foundation. Solar George spoke from near the back of the room. That is not true. Heads turned. Solar had arrived quietly at 7:52 and remained near a column, avoiding both the main table and the cameras. Now he stepped into the open. Kemi Alo's face lost color. What did you say? The file was created on your office laptop. Chief Bode moved towards him. Solar, be careful. Solar Alo's hand shook. For once, he did not hide them. I have been careful for 27 years, Chief. That is how I reached this point. Kemi pointed at him. He is lying because he is under investigation. Yes, Solar said. I am under investigation. I signed payments I should not have signed. I remained silent when foundation money entered company accounts. I will answer for that. He looked at Ronke. But she did not steal 3,870,000 naira. That evidence was prepared to force her to withdraw her report. A glass slipped from somebody Alo's hand. It hit the floor and broke. Nobody moved to clean it. Chief Bode Alo's voice became low. You ungrateful man. Solar nodded. That word has controlled me for too long. Musa looked towards his legal advisor. Begin a record of statements made in this room. Anybody who does not wish to speak may remain silent. Nobody is compelled to answer us. Then he addressed Chief Bode. There will be no signing at 8:15. The words struck the family harder than shouting would have. Chief Bode Alo's face changed. You cannot suspend an 8.7 billion naira transaction because of domestic confusion. I suspended it before entering this compound. Kemi gripped the edge of the table. Musa continued. Our forensic review identified unsupported beneficiary payments, related supplier accounts, and transfers from the foundation into Balogun project accounts. Tonight was not a ceremonial approval. It was your final opportunity to provide an explanation before Meridian considered further action. Tola looked at her husband. You said the investment was ready. Chief Bode ignored her. Al-Haji, let us speak man to man. Musa Alo's eyes hardened. Fraud does not become respectable because men discuss it in a study. A few guests looked down to hide their reactions. Ronke remained barefoot near the broken heel. Musa noticed. He turned to a female member of his team. Please find a clean pair of slippers from the vehicle. Ronke shook her head. I am fine. You should not need to prove strength through discomfort. The woman left. Tola watched the small act of consideration with disbelief. 10 minutes earlier, she had treated Ronke Alo's bare feet as part of her humiliation. Now the most powerful man in the room had noticed what the family had ignored. Kemi recovered enough to speak. Even if foundation money moved, Ronke still accessed confidential records without permission. Ronke looked at her. You gave me the folder and the password. I asked you to improve presentation, not investigate. Reading is not misconduct because you disliked what was read. The auditor lifted the false statement. We need the laptop. Kemi folded her arms. You cannot take my property. We will not take it without consent or lawful authority, Musa said. But your refusal will be documented and the investment will remain suspended. Chief Bode rounded on Kemi. Give them the laptop. She looked at him. Daddy, give it. For the first time that night, fear moved openly across her face. The woman returned with simple black slippers. Ronke put them on. Musa waited until she was steady. Then he looked at the screen, the confession, and the family. Let us begin with the accusation you chose to make public. The powerful man had entered, but the truth still had to do the walking. Kemi Ayo's laptop arrived from the upstairs study at 8:27. One of the household staff carried it inside a leather sleeve. The auditor asked Kemi to unlock it herself, then connected nothing, until the legal advisor had documented her consent in writing. Musa stood aside. His bodyguards remained near the doors, watchful but still. There was no raid. There was procedure. The difference mattered. Kemi entered her password with stiff fingers. You people are treating me like a criminal in my father Allah's house. Ronke looked at the confession on the table. Now you know how accusation feels before verification. Kemi glared at her. The auditor requested the original file used to print the bank statement. Kemi claimed she did not know where it was stored. He searched only the folders she authorized and found a recently opened presentation directory. Inside it sat the edited screenshots shown to the guests, the 2-page confession, and a PDF named RC Team Sunfoil. The room seemed to hold its breath. The auditor checked the file properties. Created today at 5:46 p.m., he said. Kemi shook her head. That does not mean I created it. The registered author is your foundation user account. Anybody can use an account. The file was created on this device. My staff used this laptop. Who used it today? I do not monitor every person. Sola stepped closer. There is a biometric login. Kemi turned on him. Keep quiet. The order came too quickly. The auditor checked the system security log. Biometric authentication at 5:41 p. User profile. Niyi Balogun. A whisper moved across the room. Kemi Alo's lips parted. Tola touched her shoulder. There must be a mistake. The auditor opened the source document. The alleged transfer reference read BGF 38870RC. He compared it with a legitimate transaction printout supplied earlier during due diligence. The Bank Alo's reference structure uses a longer alphanumeric sequence tied to channel and date, he said. This one does not follow the format. Ronke spoke from beside Niyi. The logo is also outdated. The auditor enlarged the document. She was right. The bank had changed the spacing around its symbol 11 months earlier. Kemi had copied an old statement from an archived foundation folder. The legal advisor contacted the Bank Alo's fraud desk using a verified number already held in Meridian Alo's records. He did not read account details aloud. He gave the alleged reference and requested confirmation through the formal channel. While they waited, the auditor examined the edited message screenshots. One image claimed Ronke had written, "Pay me the balance, and I will tell Meridian it was a mistake." The auditor asked Ronke for her phone. She handed it over only after he explained what he intended to inspect. Her actual message history contained no such conversation. A secure backup showed the same. The screenshot on Kemi Alo's laptop used Ronke Alo's profile image but had no underlying chat export. Then Yemi Alo's name appeared in another fabricated message. Kemi had described her as Ronke Coker's associate. Ronke Coker's face changed. "Leave Yemi out of this." Kemi laughed bitterly. "You already brought everybody inside." "No. You dragged them in because one victim was not enough for your story." The bank confirmation arrived at 8:44. No transaction matching the reference existed. The destination account displayed in Kemi Balogun's document was not Ronke Coker's. It belonged to a dormant vendor profile previously used by the foundation. The payment itself had never occurred. The entire accusation had been assembled from unrelated information. Musa placed both hands behind his back. "Chief Bode, do you still intend to call the police on Ronke?" Chief Bodelo's eyes stayed on the laptop. "We need time. You gave her two choices. This situation is more complicated than it appears." "No," Ronke said. "It became complicated because you needed a lie large enough to cover the first one." Chief Bode turned on her. "You should be grateful we allowed you into this family at all." The old arrogance returned because it was the only ground he knew. Musa Balogun's voice became colder. "Allowed her?" Chief Bode faced him. "You do not understand what it means to protect a name built over decades." Musa looked around the mansion. "I understand very well. A good name is not protected by forcing innocent people to carry the shame of guilty ones." Tola stepped forward. "This was only a test. We wanted to know whether Ronke would remain calm under accusation." Even Kemi stared at her. Ronke looked at the broken glass, her shoes, the confession, and the closed doors. "You threatened me with handcuffs as a test." Tola lifted her chin. "We never called the police, because you did not want an investigation. That is not true." "Then call them now." Tola Balogun's mouth closed. Ronke continued. "Give them the false document. Give them the laptop. Tell them you dragged a ring from my hand, threatened my mother Balogun's business, and tried to make me sign away my rights. Call them." Nobody reached for a phone. Ronke nodded. "That is what I thought." Kemi began to cry. The tears came suddenly, but they did not soften the facts. "I did everything for this family," she said. "You all stood there and expected me to keep the foundation alive, keep donors happy, cover project gaps and smile for cameras. Daddy moved money. Sola signed papers. Mummy knew. Now everybody is looking at me as if I woke up one morning and invented this house." Chief Bode snapped. "Do not mention me." Kemi turned towards him. "You told me to create whatever documentation was needed. I told you to reconcile accounts. You told me Meridian could not see the foundation transfers." Chief Bode Balogun's face darkened. "You are emotional because you are leaving me alone." The family Balogun's unity split in front of the guests. What Ronke had been unable to prove through suspicion, pressure now pulled from their own mouths. Musa raised one hand. "Stop!" Kemi looked at him through tears. "If you are trying to assign blame, do it through counsel and formal statements. Do not turn this room into another place where truth is shaped by whoever shouts first." He turned to his audit team. "Summarize the confirmed findings." The auditor read from his tablet. The foundation had reported 37 trainees in the reviewed program. Independent contact and attendance verification supported 12 consistent participants. 9 people could confirm limited attendance. 16 identities had incomplete or conflicting records. 3 suppliers shared financial or administrative links not disclosed as related parties. A total of 31,640,000 naira had moved from foundation accounts into project-related accounts over 4 months. Some funds were later returned, but the transfers had not been authorized by donors or reported in the foundation statements. At least 5 approval records carrying Sola Balogun's electronic signature had been created when he was unavailable or after the stated approval dates. The accusation against Ronke was fabricated. Each sentence removed another brick from the Balogun family Alo's public image. When the auditor finished, Chief Bode pulled out a chair and sat down. He suddenly looked 62. Tola Alo's hand remained on Kemi Alo's shoulder, but now it seemed she was using her daughter to remain upright. Niyi stood apart from them. He had not spoken since Ronke placed the ring in his palm. Musa faced Chief Bode. Meridian is suspending the investment process with immediate effect. Chief Bode looked up. If you walk away, you will destroy the company. Your governance failures placed the company here. 214 employees will suffer. They should not. Hope flickered in Chief Bode Elo's face. Musa continued, That is why Meridian will consider a restructuring proposal rather than an unrestricted family-controlled investment. What proposal? Independent management. Full forensic audit. Separation of the foundation from the company. Recovery of diverted funds. Removal of any director implicated in falsification or obstruction. A protected reporting channel. 2 authorization control for material payments. Public correction of the accusation against Ronke. Tola reacted first. Public correction? You humiliated her before guests and created material capable of damaging her profession. Correction cannot be whispered in a kitchen. Chief Bode Alo's voice weakened. You want to take my company? No, I am giving the board a chance to save it from you. The sentence landed cleanly. Nobody clapped. That would have cheapened it. But something shifted among the guests. Several who had avoided Ronke Alo's eyes now looked at Chief Bode without admiration. Musa continued. Meridian may provide controlled working capital directly to verified project obligations after the audit begins. Salaries and essential suppliers can be prioritized. No funds will enter accounts controlled solely by this family. Chief Bode gripped the arms of the chair. I built this business. And now you must decide whether you love the business more than your control over it. Ronke looked at the workers' Alo photographs on the screen. This was the moment revenge could have demanded complete destruction. Part of her wanted the company doors shut, the mansion emptied, and every person who laughed at her reduced to begging. But punishment that crushed innocent workers would only repeat the Balogun's Alo logic. Use powerless people to carry powerful people Alo's consequences. She stepped forward. Musa looked at her. Do you wish to say something? Yes, sir. Chief Bode gave a humorless laugh. Of course. Now the project accountant will teach us how to run a company. Ronke faced him. You should listen because the way you ran it brought us here. His mouth closed. She turned towards Musa and the audit team. If Meridian considers restructuring, the foundation accounts should be separated immediately. Not only on paper, separate bank mandates, separate board oversight, and direct beneficiary verification. The auditor nodded. Ronke continued. No person should create a vendor, approve its invoice, and reconcile the payment. Those duties must be divided. Material payments should require 2 authorized officers from different functions. Related suppliers should disclose ownership. Musa watched her carefully. What about the trainees already affected? Contact all 37 names. Do not assume every irregular name is false. Some may be real people whose records were mishandled. Verify who attended, who received transport, who received equipment, and who received nothing. Then repair each gap. Kemi stared at her. You still want the program to continue? I want the people used in your report to receive what the report claimed they received. Ronke looked at Sola. And staff who cooperate should not escape accountability. But cooperation must be distinguished from obstruction. Otherwise, nobody inside a failing system will ever speak. Sola lowered his head. Musa Alo's company secretary began taking notes. Ronke added one final point. Publish a simple expenditure summary. Not only an audited report nobody reads. Show beneficiaries, donors and workers where money went. Secrecy is what allowed family loyalty to replace governance. Musa nodded slowly. These recommendations will be included in the interim framework. Chief Bode looked from Musa to Ronke. A few hours earlier, he had told her she came from a food stall and did not understand companies. Now the survival of his business was being discussed through controls she had proposed. Tola stepped towards Ronke. My daughter, please speak to Al-Haji. Tell him we can settle this. What happened tonight was anger. Ronke looked at her. An apology that protects your money but refuses to name the harm is not an apology. I am apologizing. For what? Tola hesitated. For the misunderstanding. Ronke shook her head. You accused me of theft. You insulted my parents. You threatened my mother Alo's business. You tried to force me to sign a false confession. Which part is a misunderstanding? Tola Alo's lips trembled. Guests listened. She had demanded Ronke Alo's shame in public. Now accountability required the same room. I accused you falsely, Tola said at last. I treated your background as if it made you dishonest. I threatened your mother Alo's work. I was wrong. Ronke did not smile. Thank you for naming it. Kemi stepped forward next. You can withdraw your complaint. No. Tell Meridian you forgive us. Forgiveness is not document destruction. You want to see us suffer. I want the people who lost training funds to be restored. I want workers paid without using charity accounts. I want my name cleared. Kemi Alo's voice rose. You have won already. This was never a competition. Chief Bode struck the table with his palm. Enough of this woman controlling the room. Niyi, take her outside and settle her. Niyi looked at his father. No. Chief Bode stood. What did you say? I said no. This time the word carried weight. Niyi walked to the center of the hall, still holding the ring. Ronke warned me. I saw signs that money had moved. I delayed because I was afraid of what the truth would cost this family. Chief Bode pointed at him. Do not disgrace yourself. I disgraced myself when she asked whether I believed her, and I stood silent. Niyi faced the guests. I used 214 workers as an excuse to avoid confronting the people who endangered their jobs. When my family accused an innocent woman, I asked her to leave so I could fix it later. There is no later that repairs that kind of cowardice. Ronke Alo's throat tightened. She did not rescue him from the confession. Niyi placed the ring on the glass table. I resign as the family Alo's representative in the Meridian transaction. I will cooperate with the review. If I failed in my duties, I will accept the consequence. Tola grabbed his arm. You will abandon your own blood because of her? Niyi removed her hand gently. No, Mummy. I am refusing to abandon the truth because of blood. Chief Bode stared at his son as if a wall had spoken. You will leave this house tonight. Niyi nodded. I expected that. You will lose your position. I have resigned. You will receive nothing from me. Niyi swallowed. Then whatever life I build will finally belong to my decisions. The room became quiet again. Ronke looked at him. Part of her still loved him. Love did not disappear because disappointment had become clear. But neither did love erase the 7 seconds in which he had left her alone. Niyi approached her carefully. I am sorry. She met his eyes. I hear you. Can we talk? Not tonight. He nodded. The answer hurt him. He accepted it. Musa Alo's legal advisor collected the false confession and printed evidence with Chief Bode Alo's reluctant consent. The laptop remained in Kemi Alo's possession, but was placed under a written preservation agreement pending formal requests. Sola agreed to surrender relevant company devices through counsel. Nothing dramatic happened to the bodyguards. They did not seize the mansion. They did not force anyone to kneel. They simply ensured that nobody intimidated Ronke or removed the materials from the room while the parties documented what had occurred. At 9:36, Ronke picked up her broken shoes. Musa Allo's aide offered to have a driver take her home. Ronke accepted. Before leaving, she turned towards the guests. Some had recorded the humiliation. Some had whispered. Most had done nothing. "My name is Ronke Coker," she said. "I did not become innocent when Al-Haji Musa entered this room. I was innocent when you believed the screen." Several phones lowered. She looked at Tola. "And I did not become worthy of respect because a powerful man recognized me. I was worthy when you thought nobody powerful would come." Then Ronke walked out of the Balogun mansion in borrowed slippers, carrying her broken shoes in one hand and nothing from the family in the other. Behind her, 8.7 billion naira remained unsigned. For the first time that night, she could breathe. The morning after the dinner, Ronke woke at 5:12 to the sound of Joy grinding pepper in the kitchen. For several seconds, she did not remember why her ankle hurt. Then the room returned to her in pieces. The screen, the false messages, the ring in Niyi Balogun's hand, Musa Balogun's question, Sola Balogun's trembling confession. Her phone contained 116 notifications. Some guests had uploaded short videos before leaving the mansion. One clip showed Tola calling Ronke a thief. Another showed Musa suspending the investment. A third ended with Ronke saying she had been innocent before he entered. The clips traveled faster than the correction. By 7:00, strangers had called Joy Ilo's shop, asking whether the billionaire family thief worked there. Others called to congratulate Ronke, as though public attention had become a prize. A blogger offered money for an exclusive interview. Ronke refused. "Why?" Joy asked. "Because the investigation is not complete. They already disgraced you publicly. I will not repair reckless accusation with reckless accusation." Yemi arrived carrying bread, tea, and anger. "I have saved every video," she said. "Also, somebody posted your phone number. We need to change it." Ronke sat at the small table. "Did you sleep?" "No. I was busy insulting people in my mind." Joy placed a cup before her. "Do not insult them there for free. Charge rent." For the first time since the dinner, Ronke laughed. The formal consequences moved more slowly than the videos. Meridian issued a statement confirming that its proposed investment had been suspended pending governance review. It did not publish unproven criminal conclusions. The board of Balogun Integrated Homes appointed an independent committee. External auditors secured records from the company and foundation. Relevant matters were referred through legal channels for further determination. Chief Bodhi was placed on administrative leave. Kemi was removed from all foundation duties. Sola remained suspended, but his cooperation and his own admissions were documented rather than hidden. Tola Balogun's public correction appeared 6 days later. She recorded it in the same sitting room where Ronke had once been served tea in a chipped cup. "My family made a false accusation of theft against Ronke Coker," she said, reading from a prepared statement. "The bank document displayed at our dinner was not genuine. Ronke did not receive the alleged funds. I also made degrading statements about her family and social background. Those statements were wrong. I apologize to Ronke Coker, her mother, and anybody harmed by our conduct." The first recording took 23 seconds. Her lawyers made her record it again because she had added, "under emotional circumstances," after the apology. The second version named the harm without excuse. Ronke watched it once. She did not feel triumph. She felt space. A name falsely damaged is not repaired by one sentence. But the correction gave people something solid to repeat when the lie returned. 4 months after the dinner, Meridian approved a controlled restructuring facility. It was not the original 8.7 billion naira check Chief Bode had expected. Funds were released in stages and paid directly towards verified payroll, essential suppliers, and projects that passed technical review. No member of the Balogun family could move the money alone. The company board removed Chief Bode from executive control. He remained a shareholder, but the title that once made rooms bend no longer allowed him to approve payments, appoint vendors, or overrule compliance staff. 2 luxury vehicles and an unused property were sold as part of the recovery arrangement. Additional funds were returned through negotiated repayment and asset disposal. The foundation received its own independent board, its own bank mandates, and a new reporting structure. Kemi fought every step. She claimed the rules were designed to humiliate her. She complained that outsiders did not understand family businesses. Yet, when investigators contacted the 37 people listed in the training report, the human cost became harder to hide. 12 had completed most of the program. 9 had attended only limited sessions. 16 had either never been invited, never received promised materials, or had personal details used without receiving the recorded support. The repair plan did not delete them as ghost. Each person was contacted individually. Records were corrected. Those who had missed training were offered real places. Transport support was paid directly. Equipment purchases were verified before delivery. The program restarted with public attendance and expenditure summaries. Ronke visited the training center on the first day of the new session. The dusty computers had been repaired. The unused sewing machines were numbered and assigned. The attendance register required participant confirmation and supervisor review. No single staff member could add a vendor, approve an invoice, and reconcile payment. An auditor asked Ronke whether she felt satisfied. She looked at the trainees opening their starter kits. "I will be satisfied when the control still works after everybody forgets the scandal." Meridian offered Ronke a permanent senior role. She refused the first version of the offer because it placed her directly inside a team overseeing Balogun accounts while the investigation continued. "That can create another conflict," she explained. Musa smiled. "You refuse opportunity with the same energy you refuse bribes. I refuse arrangements that will make the next question harder to answer." A revised contract appointed her through a transparent selection process as an independent controls advisor across several community investment programs, not only Balogun projects. Her salary increased, but the job came with written reporting lines, conflict disclosures, and a fixed term. She accepted. With Yemi, she also began a small weekend program called Clear Books Initiative. They met owners of food shops, cooperatives, charities, and growing family businesses in borrowed training rooms. They did not promise that paperwork could prevent every dishonest act. They taught practical defenses. Do not allow one person to request, approve, and reconcile the same payment. Do not sign blank pages because the chairman is waiting. Keep original records unchanged. Record when copies were created and where they came from. Use formal reporting channels when possible. Separate what you can prove from what you fear. Do not post accusations online simply because you are angry. And never assume a family member cannot steal because the business carries the family name. Joy attended the first session and sat at the back. When Ronke finished explaining separation of duties, Joy raised her hand. "So the person buying pepper should not be the only person counting pepper?" "Yes, Mummy." "Then who will do all this work in my shop?" The room laughed. Ronke smiled. "In a very small business, full separation may not be possible, But another person can review the records regularly. Even simple controls help. Joy nodded. Good, because Yemi will start checking your own receipts. Yemi pointed at herself. Why me? Because you like trouble with evidence. The room laughed again. That was how the educational work grew, through ordinary examples, not grand speeches. Niyi Balogun's life changed without cameras. Chief Bode removed him from the family house the night of the dinner. Niyi spent 3 weeks in a hotel, then rented a modest 2-bedroom flat on the mainland. He sold one of his cars to cover expenses and legal fees. He applied for work using his experience rather than his father, Balogun's calls. For the first time, interviewers asked what he had achieved without treating his surname as an answer. A medium-sized construction firm hired him as a project manager on a lower salary than he had earned at Balogun Integrated Homes. He accepted. Niyi did not send Ronke flowers. He did not appear outside her office. He wrote one letter. In it, he did not ask for forgiveness. He described the exact moments he had failed, delaying the foundation questions, asking her to withdraw the report, allowing worker salaries to become an excuse, and remaining silent when she asked whether he believed her. He ended with one sentence. I loved you, but I protected my comfort more quickly than I protected your dignity. Ronke kept the letter. She did not reply for 2 months. Niyi apologized to Joy in person on a Tuesday afternoon when the shop was quiet. He arrived alone and ordered food first. Joy served him. After he ate, he stood. Nimma, I failed your daughter. Joy continued wiping the counter. Yes, I have no excuse. Good. Excuses make long visits. I am sorry I asked her to wait for courage I should already have had. Joy looked at him. Are you apologizing because you want her back? I want her back. But I am apologizing because what I did was wrong even if she never returns. Joy placed the cloth down. That is the first useful thing you have said. She did not bless him, she did not chase him away. She charged him for the meal. Over the next 11 months, Niyi proved change in small decisions. When his new employer asked him to approve cheaper materials that did not match specification, he refused and documented it. When Chief Bode offered to restore his inheritance, if he publicly blamed Kemi alone, Niyi declined. When reporters requested family secrets, he did not sell private pain for attention. He cooperated with investigators, including on matters that could expose his own neglect. He also attended clear book sessions. At first, he sat in the back and said nothing. Later, Ronke asked him to explain how governance fails when a founder treats disagreement as betrayal. Niyi spoke without protecting himself. People imagine corruption begins with a bag of cash, he told the room. Sometimes it begins when a good employee says, Sir, this is wrong, and everybody else tells the employee to respect authority. Ronke watched him. That was the first day she believed his change might survive discomfort. They began speaking again. Not as fiancés, not even as lovers at first. They met for coffee. They discussed therapy, family boundaries, work, and the difference between guilt and responsibility. They argued. Niyi no longer treated disagreement as danger. Ronke no longer tested every silence as though the mansion had followed them into the room. Trust returned like construction done properly, slowly, with inspection. On a Saturday morning, 11 months after the dinner, Niyi took Ronke to the Surulere project where they had met. The 86 flats were complete. Families had begun moving in. Drainage channels ran along the road, and the corrected steel structures stood beneath fresh paint. Niyi did not kneel. He did not bring a new ring. He held out the original one. I have kept this because returning it was your choice, not mine, he said. I am not asking you to forget what happened. I am asking whether the man I am becoming may build a life beside you. Ronke looked at the ring, then at him. I will not marry the man who loved me only in private. I know. I will marry a man who stands beside truth in public, even when truth removes his chair. Niyi nodded. I am learning to be that man. Ronke took the ring, then continue learning. Their legal ceremony took place 3 months later. There was no mansion, no 43-person audience, and no investment document waiting beside the cake. Joy deep pour herpel and cried before anybody else. Yemi signed as a witness. Sola attended quietly after giving further evidence and accepting the professional consequences of his own conduct. Musa came as a guest. He arrived with only one driver. When someone suggested he should give Ronke away, she smiled. My mother raised me. Nobody is transferring ownership today. Joy walked beside her. Before the vows, Ronke looked at Niyi. I am not marrying the man who loved me in private. I am marrying the man who finally learned to stand beside the truth in public. Niyi Alo's eyes filled. And I am marrying the woman whose dignity never waited for my family Alos's approval. They signed. Outside, Lagos continued as it always did. Horns, heat, bargaining voices, and people trying to build lives inside systems that did not always protect them. The Balogun family did not disappear into poverty. That was not the lesson. Chief Bode lost executive control, but remained responsible for repayment and cooperation. Kemi faced formal consequences and years of rebuilding a reputation she had damaged herself. Tola had to live with a public correction that money could not erase. Their punishment was not hunger for entertainment. It was accountability. The workers kept their jobs. The trainees received what had been promised. The foundation learned to operate without treating charity money as family property. And Ronke did not become worthy because a powerful man walked into the room with bodyguards. She had been worthy when she entered with broken shoes. She had been worthy when she sat beside the kitchen door. She had been worthy when 43 people believed a screen instead of asking one honest question. Money can purchase a larger room. It cannot purchase the character required to behave well inside it. A quick note before you go. The class discrimination, retaliation, and financial pressure shown in this story reflect problems that can happen in workplaces, charities, and family businesses, although laws and reporting protections differ from one country to another. If you or somebody you know is facing serious workplace harassment, threats, or retaliation, do not depend on a YouTube comment section for a solution. Speak with a qualified lawyer, a recognized local authority, or a trusted legal aid organization. Listeners in the United States can also contact the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for information when workplace discrimination or retaliation may be covered by employment discrimination laws. I am not a lawyer, investigator, or counselor, and nothing in this story is professional advice. I am simply a storyteller who believes dignity should never depend on salary, surname, or social class. The true measure of power is not how many people obey you, but how carefully you treat the person you believe cannot fight back.